Hello, welcome to the last Natufian. This is part 5 in my new series about the pillars at Göbekli Tepe. First, the pillar rules. As always, there are no people on any of the pillars. There are no places or settlements. They do not give away their secrets. Terrain is on the faces of the pillars and rivers are on the edges. In the previous videos, we looked at the different enclosures, A, B, and C. Today we're going to look at the most storied one, and that is Enclosure D, which includes the vulture stone. Now, the pillars are maps, or cartoon maps like this one here. However, the two in the middle here are not. These two tell a story. You've got a bigger pillar here, and it looks like a large comet, and then a smaller, more defined comet here, going into the fox. So they would have seen the comet coming. So 12,000 years ago, they would have seen the comet coming, okay, for months or years. And then when it passed over, it looks like, I'm going to be a little subjective here, and that there was a large comet that streaked by, but then a more defined one that landed in the land of the fox, in the tail of the fox. Now, there are a couple things going on here on Pillar 18, and when we do Pillar 18, we'll get into it more. But as you can see here, the comet, or the dust trail of the comet, turns into some elbows here, right? And you can see the tail of the fox, where the fox is backwards. I always found that strange that it was backwards, and until I figured out that's where it landed. But anyway, as far as the elbows, well, that's how you would describe a comet, right? And just by making an elbow, you would see that, later on, to tell somebody what it looked like, you could just make an elbow, right? And say, oh, that's what the comet looked like. Now, when the comet landed, it hit in the Younger Dryas, it hit all over the world, right? It took out the woolly mammoths, the saber-toothed tigers, and many other mammals in North America, South America too. They found recently another large impact crater up in Greenland that would have caused a problem. You can see Europe and this special one right here. And there was one that landed, as you can see right here, at Tel Abu Huraira, right there on the Euphrates. And here is the tail of the fox. As we saw in the previous videos, here's the fox and there's the tail of it. So it would have spread right through there, right? So they would have seen it coming for months or longer. And as it's showing here, there are two of them. One's larger than the other. This one does not have a fox or anything, and it looks uglier. This one, again, is more defined, landing in the fox, and it did cause a problem when it hit. Not only did it take out that village and more locally, later came the flood. So on this pillar here, it's talking about the flood. As you can see here, these are giant waves right here, and it's taking out, as you can see, that's the Sphinx. We saw that earlier. That is the Sphinx, a lion. And that is the people of Libya, and that is the people of Jerusalem or Israel. And as you can see, there are 3 bricks here, right? It's like a wall of water. They're using the same terminology. So as we go, well, what I should say is when it comes to a disaster, it's more important to know what happened and where than it is when. And that's what they were saying here. What happened was the comet hit and they had a wall of water that came in and gave them some issues. So I'm going to go pillar by pillar in the D enclosure in the next video. Thanks for watching this one. Prost.